Hello, all. Welcome once more to the TGO show, where we like to talk about video games and stuff about video games. So last week we trialed a new intro and we've changed the format of the show a bit, changed some of the minor aspects of it, and I still feel good about the transition. I think moving forward there will be room for growth, as there is always. This week's show is a little bit less exciting about next gen as last week's because Halo Infinite got delayed. Now this news happened moments after we finished wrapping up the last week's show, so it was important we talked about it. I think it was very relevant, this game, for me and Jay, for the next gen as well, so it is definitely a big topic to speak about this week. I also take a look at some modern TVs and we have some thoughts on that, and keeping up to date with technology in many aspects: phone, TV, computer, laptop, the list goes on, as you know. We talk about Control and its next gen upgrade and some interesting developments about that. Have a small discussion about Marvel Avengers because, of course, Jay's fascination with this game has no bounds, and it's going to be an interesting one to see it roll out. We also discuss or talk about the things we mentioned last week about characters talking out loud in open world games, and I think that was a good discussion as well. So there's a little bit more in there, of course. Guess Whose review makes a nice return, and I hope you enjoy the show. Everyone stay safe, stay cool, have a good weekend. As always, please feel free to write in with anything you so desire. And without further ado, on to the show. Recording this, Jay, because moments after last week's show,
I think it was actually during. I looked back at the news article, and it was 8 p.m, which was right in the middle of when we started recording.
Yeah, so moments after last week's show podcast, huge news as far as I'm concerned, Jay. I don't think either of us were expecting this.
I was.
Were you?
100%. Okay. As soon as I started seeing all the memes pop up about the graphics for Halo, I was like, right, they're going to delay this thing. They're going to want the public opinion to be a lot nicer than what it is right now.
I did think there was a small possibility, but because Xbox... Okay, so Halo Infinite's been delayed till 2021. We don't know when it's coming out. This is huge news because, firstly, this was the launch title for the Xbox Series X. I was really looking forward to playing it after the trailer, and there were definitely some issues that I saw, but like you said, Jay, I think there was also a comprehension that there was a small possibility this could get delayed, especially after the trailer.
Yeah, no, a very small possibility. I wasn't expecting it to happen right away, but I think it's definitely quite a big, I guess, hit to the Xbox launch. For me, I really thought the Xbox was going to beat the PlayStation this year. I thought they really had a chance, but without Halo, I don't think they got much of a chance anymore. I think that's it. I think they're definitely going to lose now. Lose the so-called race, as it were. Although, even though the Xbox is better in almost every way in terms of power. So,
technical aspects definitely up there. Yeah. But I've got to agree with you, Jay. Reviewing the situation now, I genuinely think PS5 has already won. I do believe that.
Honestly, I think I said last week it was a 70-30 Xbox, right? I think it's now gone down to a 55-45 still Xbox. I think it's still pretty close, but it's definitely a big shift, 100%.
Would you? You were excited to play Halo, weren't you?
I mean, I think this might have been my way back in, because again, I said before, I haven't enjoyed Halo since potentially ODST, maybe Reach if we're pushing it. I really haven't enjoyed it properly. So I think this might have been my return, as it were. Yeah, which I think
So
it still
you,
might be, but I'll just have to
yeah,
wait a bit longer for it. Which I'm not honestly. This whenever I hear a game has been delayed, I'm more happy than I am disappointed or sad. Because to me, that means the company and the developers really they care more about their game than money or well potentially than money or like public perception about something. They'd rather it just be a good game, which is what you want, really. You don't want a great branded game that's an awful game, which I'm going to talk about later when another game's coming up. You'd much rather have an actual good game that might not be marketed as well. But Halo is such a big brand by itself; it's going to do well regardless of how good it is. So, but again, they care about it enough to just want to make it good. So, I'm very happy that it's being delayed. I'm not as happy for Xbox as a selling thing, but I'm sure there'll still be it. We're still waiting to hear for some things, potentially like a proper launch title. So we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
I think if I'm correct, I think they were betting on Halo, and
Hmm.
I think it significantly weakens. I don't think there is a key landmark launch title now.
No.
However, as you mentioned, Jay, the third party strength is that the games look like they'll probably run best on Series X, and that will work for Xbox's strength. But I agree with your point that. What did you say?
About games coming out better rather than not.
Yes. This is such a huge decision because it must have been one of the hardest delay decisions ever, because they were planning for this to be the event of Xbox. This is the first launch title, Halo launch title for Xbox since the original. We've had 5 years, if not longer, to develop it. Let's do this thing. And then it kind of comes out the gate a little bit mixed, and they've delayed it. And now Xbox are going, haven't really got a key launch title. And do you think that, my question to you, Jay, do you think that they can repair, if you will, or make Halo that significantly better by 2021 that it will have justified the delay
Yes.
ultimately? Okay.
So I think what I have to say on this is I've mentioned it before, but if you look at PlayStation 4 or Xbox One games from 2013 and you compare them to games from 2014 and 2015, the games that came out a year or two later were significantly better because the technology was not new. I mean, it was new, but it was people were able to get used to it more, so they were able to make better games with it. So, would you rather a game be made with the same technology but by someone who was better at using it, or someone who was not as good at using it? I think that's the comparison we have to make here. So yes, I think the game's going to be better overall, but whether or not Xbox is going to be able to recover, I mean, Xbox is going to be around for this new Xbox is going to be around for at least the next 7 years minimum, right? So they've got 7 years to catch up if they want to. It's up to them. I'm sure there'll be a lot of good games. Thing is, though, the longer you leave it, the more chance you give PlayStation to make better games and to then be able to improve on the console they've already made. So it is a bit of a race against time, I guess, if you want to, depending on what the capabilities of each company is. So whether or not Xbox are going to be able to release anything launch now that's going to be as big as Halo, I mean, can you think of any games that are, capable of doing that? I mean,
I can't, mate. I can't off the
nah,
top of my head. I really can't. I mean, you've got Forza, but we've discussed that
yeah,
at length about the car niche, and you've got, I guess, Gears Tactics, but again, that's a spin-off. I really can't, mate. I really can't.
yeah. I guess the only other thing would be if they did Elder Scrolls and it was Xbox only, right?
There's just no way.
But
There's
that
just
wouldn't
no
happen.
way.
Or maybe they made it like a timed exclusive.
Yeah, something like Avengers being a timed exclusive would have been favourable.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen though, because Sony's got too big of a hold on some of
Mm,
the characters.
mm.
Yeah, I'm just like, when you think Microsoft, what games do you think, right? You think Gears, you think Halo, and weirdly for me, I think like Fallout. I don't know why, but when you think PlayStation, you think, I guess, God of War, Last of Us,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm just, unless there's
You
like a
just,
completely new IP that just like has been wanted so badly, but has never been even announced or made. but there's going to be Xbox exclusive. Like, I'm trying to think of like a potential game that everyone has always wanted, but it's never ever seen the light of day because of the technology or budgeting or whatever it was.
From a franchise already around.
Yeah, from like maybe. Oh, actually, did just have a think. The Harry Potter game that's coming out at some point. If that was Xbox exclusive, if it was timed, although it is Warner Brothers, so I don't know. I doubt it.
No, you're right there, Jay. That is definitely a game which could help them.
Like you need something like a big enough name. Like Harry Potter is a big enough name.
Depending on how good the title's received by the trailer, etc.
The thing is that I feel like most cool games. This might seem like a weird thing to say, but most cool games, like franchises that are considered nowadays, popular, tend to lean more towards the PlayStation side of things than Xbox. I feel like Xbox is kind of like, again, we spoke about this before. Xbox has sort of been the teenager, weirdly, but the PlayStation's been more of like the Japanese businessman, right? But weirdly, the Japanese businessman seems to always be more popular than the teenager, which is just so like counterproductive, or like opposite of what you'd think. So I don't know. I think they need to pull something. They need to pull the cat out of the bag right now. I just need to pull something amazing out.
You're right, Jay. And I'm not sure they've got it, mate. I'm not sure they've got it.
I don't think they do.
To be honest.
I mean, unless they're like really sandbagging this thing, and they're holding it right up to the last second.
So when they do the release date and price, you think they may pull a couple of games out the bag? Perhaps?
God, I don't know. I probably hope so. I need something now. I mean, Halo for me wasn't even really enough for me. I mean, like Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk are really the only things for me that are keeping me wanting to get it. Yeah, it's annoying that, isn't it?
I'm the same. And what also came out, Jay, I think shortly after from the Xbox Wire, was that we finally got confirmation of the month.
Yeah, the month that Series X is coming in. Which I don't actually think that PlayStation have said what month it's being released. It just got leaked on Amazon like a month ago. But I don't think PlayStation have actually officially confirmed that yet. So
I don't think so, mate. I want to ask you this, Jay. How and why would they announce the month and just not give us the release date?
Right,
Please
so technically they have, but they've confirmed the month, but there's been a leak / rumor of the actual date, and the date is about 2 weeks before the rumored release of the PlayStation.
So is this the day after Cyberpunk comes out? Sorry to interrupt you.
So PS5 was supposed to come out November 19th, which is the same day as Cyberpunk.
Okay.
But the rumored one for Xbox is supposed to be November 6th, I think, which is like way before. Which I think is supposed to line up with the potential release date of the new Call of Duty, which might be another potential launch thing there. So
I thought Call of Duty were more in bed with Sony for the last few games, though. So
yeah, it does feel like it, doesn't it?
Still haven't seen that, by the way.
Yeah, November 6th is the Friday, so I imagine it probably would be. Wow. Although November 19th is actually the Thursday, so I don't know why that is. But yeah, potentially it's coming out at least 2 weeks before the PlayStation, which again would give them a 2-week head start, and would also mean that people who have been saving up money and can't decide would be like, well, that one's out now, I might as well get that one. So I think that might be their plan. Thing is, though, if they release that information too early, PlayStation might just then say, "Oh, we'll release our same day. We don't care. We're trying to beat you. We don't care." So, yeah.
That would be so cool if Sony did that.
Honestly, if the Xbox comes out before November 19th, I'll be happy. If it comes out after, I'm going to be annoyed because I want Cyberpunk day one.
Let me go on a limb here, Jay. I think Cyberpunk will be the best launch game we've ever had.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I would look up launch titles. I guess other launch titles is like Halo, right?
Yeah, just going off the kind of brief knowledge, or not brief, the knowledge that you know, the broad knowledge you know.
I say PlayStation always tend to done a bad job with their launch titles, like Knack. Who cares about that? I still can't believe they did that. That was such a what are you doing?
Have we had Miles Morales confirmed for launch yet, Jay, or is it just Holiday 2020?
No, I think it's just still Holiday 2020. Okay. We have got a bit more news on that about it's going to be like a full story, like a full game, rather than like a smaller version of anything. I think it is going to be a full thing.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I've seen something. I can't remember exactly what it was. It was something about he's going to get a full arc, I think was the in quotes, which I think
I
basically meant that his story is going to be the equivalent of what Peter Parker's was in the previous one, I imagine.
I'm
I think they're
still
trying to
not
like make the
convinced.
game. They're still trying to make the game seem like they're not making it a lesser than version just because he's black. They're trying to make it.
No, no,
You
no,
know,
no. I think it's lesser because it's only been 2 years since the first game. There is no way this is a
no,
$60, £50 full on sequel.
I
Not
think it
a
should be.
chance.
I think it should be because if you, in reality, right, you've basically got the same game just with a black Spider-Man and different villains.
Different moves, different
Yeah,
story.
it's basically the same game. You've only
Might be
got to tweak a
different
few
city.
different things. No, same city, different time of year.
Okay.
It's in the
Oh, is it
winter.
winter?
Yeah, I think it's
Oh,
in the
man, I
winter.
love seasonal games. Mate, that is a topic we should
See,
definitely
that's why
talk
I'm
about.
guessing it's holiday 2020, right? They're going to release it near Christmas or at least in December.
Oh, we need more Christmas
I
games,
reckon
mate.
it'll be a late November, early December title. If not, it'll be like Christmas Day or something stupid like that.
Nah, they won't do that. That'd be suicidal.
I
It'll be
reckon
before
it'd
that.
probably be better to do it maybe like December 20th at the latest because then you've got time to be able to buy it and it arrive ready for Christmas.
I reckon it'll be late November.
Yeah, I
Late
hope so.
November.
Hopefully it'll be my birthday. That'd be even better, wouldn't
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
it? Mm.
Well, on the topic of next gen, mate, I had
Yes.
a random Google around
Yeah, I want to know what this
yesterday.
means. This is cool.
So I just wanted to check out. I'm starting to get a little bit more up to date, Jay, with all the tech stuff, right? So
Mm.
we're getting new consoles. This is the first time I'm buying a console at launch, and I'm willing to get to know what are the specs for headsets and TVs and speakers that everyone's looking for right now at the moment. And the problem I have, Jay, is twofold. Firstly, tech is so
Expensive? Yep.
it's so furiously updated
Yeah,
that
it's
it
very
will cost you
regular.
your life to keep up to date with it. And secondly, as you already said, Jay, it's too expensive. So I checked out some modern TVs that I was thinking, if I could treat myself, what sort of TV would I buy for this new console, right? And they've got so many letters, I don't even know where to start, mate. Like UHD, 8K, Samsung, like
Ultra HD, yeah.
Ultra, so much stuff. But at the core, a lot of websites, the tech websites, they're like, yeah, this TV will be great for your PS5. This will be great for the Series X, even though we haven't actually got the official kind of headway from either of those companies saying you should buy this TV. I don't know whether that's a specific sponsorship required, but my point is they're way too expensive, Jay. They're like at least $1,000, $2,000. And I think when you look at it, you're looking at these tech websites, they're thinking from a tech geek point of view, this TV will be great. They're not thinking from a financial point of view. A bit like game reviewers. They hardly ever think, oh, this game's $60, so this is why it's, this is good. Like The Witcher 3 is worth 200 hours of your time, so it's great value for money. Reviewers don't really think like that because they get all the games for free. And we can talk about that maybe. But my point is that I looked at some of the TVs, mate, and I just was astounded by how expensive they are. And I'm more than happy with my 4K TV, which I haven't even used in 4K yet,
Yeah,
to
how
see how it
much
goes.
did you pay for the 4K that you've got?
So I bought it off my dad for $350, and I think he got it for $500.
Okay. What make is it?
Samsung.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm now actually looking at a 43-inch 4K Samsung, and at the minute you can get it for 377, which actually isn't bad. Honestly,
It's
that's
not
making
bad.
me want to get one. Because the one I've got right now, I think, is like 42, 43, but it's like a very old, sharp, sort of quite thick TV.
Yeah.
Like, you know how TVs obviously were boxes way back, and then you had like,
Yeah.
you still had there's still ones that weren't flat. I mean, they were flat screen, but they weren't like, they were still quite
Fat.
thick, right? I want one that's a bit like thin. I want one, like, like a new one that's 4K. So I'm actually like going to save this and see if I can get this at some point, because that's actually really, that's like the same as what you'd pay for, like, I guess hopefully one of these new consoles. Like, you're basically buying two consoles.
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually really decent. I'm going to save that for later.
Listen,
That's
mate.
really
Listen,
cool.
mate. I would highly, highly recommend you get a 4K TV
Yeah,
for
I
next
need it
gen.
bad. The TV I've got right now is barely 1080. Like, it might
Yeah.
not even be 1080 if you like really think about it. It's like,
Yeah.
old version of 1080 rather than new version. This TV is probably like definitely at least a decade old. Pretty annoying. But there you go. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
mate.
need to
If you
get a new
can.
TV so bad.
For sure, for sure. And I will also say, Jay, I'm not sure about the specs, but this Samsung one is good. I like it a lot. I like it a
Yeah.
lot.
See, I don't know if you've done this before. If you've gone to like a Curry's or like somewhere where they've got that massive selection of TVs and they're playing different, they're playing the same video, and you look through. Some look like dimmer, some look sharper, some look, I guess, brighter. To me, like when you're home and you're watching it, it doesn't really like matter too much. Like I could still pick the worst looking one out of the bunch, and it would still be better than what I've got right now.
Sure.
So for me, I'm not even too bothered about how it looks like against other ones. I'd rather it just be better than what I've got. So,
I think that's a guarantee, mate, from your point of view.
from my point of view, yes. Maybe from other people's, because like you say, trying to keep up and get the more newer stuff more often, it's going to cost a lot, and plus, it's probably not going to be that much of a difference in like how well how good it is in comparison. But if you're someone like me who will make a piece of new technology last them a decade before you do anything about it, then I think that's actually probably like a quite a healthy thing to do, to like get technology and then not worry about upgrading until at least 5+ years later, because you're saving yourself the money. Plus, if what you've got is working, why try to improve it unless unless it's like for your job, there's like certain cameras that I can imagine people who are like professional photographers and different lenses that require a more frequent purchase. But this kind of thing, the casual type of consumer wouldn't want to do that. It's definitely better to leave that longer. Yeah, definitely.
For sure, mate. If you're a millionaire,
yeah, if you got the money, yeah, definitely.
Would you upgrade almost every 6 months or so? Do you think?
No, it'd probably be closer to a year.
Yeah. Okay.
Depending on what the piece of technology was. If it was TVs, it'd probably be maybe once a year. Although I feel like nowadays you could buy the TV that was the most expensive ever, and that would last you like at least 10 years. There's no way they're going to improve on that anytime soon. I feel like technology is definitely starting to hit a bit of a ceiling at some point.
Definitely,
To me,
it's hitting the ceiling.
Down,
It's hitting the ceiling of our physical limitation. What's the point in doing 16K if our eyes can't see it? Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's just kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit worried about my eyes. Like, what are my eyes going to do when I'm like watching all this 4K stuff? Is it going to be able to really cope? Because I haven't really watched 4K properly. I don't think. I've never watched 4K on a 4K screen, so I wouldn't know what it looks like. Honestly, I mean, to me, 1080 was amazing when I first saw it. I was like, oh my god. 720 was amazing. I used to play on like 480 for so long.
Oh
God, that was such a drag. Like, I can't even imagine even looking at 480 nowadays. Oh god, it'd be awful.
Unacceptable.
I know.
Yeah, I haven't seen 4K either, mate. Really, so I'm fascinated to see if we can see the potential difference. Apparently, it's lower than 720 to 1080 or 480 to 1080, but I'm interested to see what will be going on there. Jay, going back to last week's show quickly, we didn't talk about this, though you mentioned it. Thoughts on characters talking out loud? So classic example, Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn. Maybe I should go over there and slip past that dinosaur. And the argument is, why would you ever say that?
Yeah, I think I've definitely heard it a lot in games, and for me, more recently, it was Ghost of Tsushima. I think let's say out of the 100 times it happened, if there even was 100 times, it was maybe helpful twice. So whether or not that 2% of the time it's going to be helpful, I don't know. I mean, to me, obviously it wasn't, but to other people it might be. I think that's like more of a developer issue, right? Like whether there's maybe some sort of survey they could do. I'm sure they've asked this somewhere, but I mean, it's such a niche problem to have. That's the thing. I'm trying to think. Was this ever an issue like on older games, like on old Assassin's Creeds, or I don't know.
I always think this is a pretty niche issue. Like, I think this is an issue for gamers who game a lot and they just kind of laugh about it or think, that's a little bit ridiculous, but I'll move on with it. I don't think anyone literally sits there and goes, I can't believe they've done this again. Why are they talking out loud? I think it's more of a very niche gamer issue. I've always thought though, Jay, why not just have the narration but just have it in their head? Like that seems like an easy solution to me.
I think they do that on Ghost, I want to say.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's definitely times. It might not be when they're walking around, or it might be. I might have to like remember that or like have a look properly. But I have a feeling like yeah, the main character in Ghost did talk in his head a lot because you're not with anybody most of the time.
Sure.
You're usually on your own. Um, I know there's definitely times where he does speak to himself, but whether that he did that when it was go over there, do this kind of thing. I think most of the time in that it was usually other people telling me to do this beforehand. I'm actually curious to see if it kind of depends on the game, right? So I feel like some games, I think third-person games probably lend themselves to do that more than first-person games. Because like a first person, it probably makes sense in both. I kind of like the more I think about it, the more I do wish they'd get rid of it, honestly. Because I guess it depends on because they don't do it in Dark Souls, right? And I guess that's part of the appeal is the
Does
challenge
your
of it.
character talk in Dark Souls?
No, he doesn't talk, so I guess that doesn't really
Nay,
matter
or
in
could be
that.
a she. Could be a she.
Yeah, um, yeah. I'm trying to think. Like, does it make the game easier? Does it
Yeah, I think it. I think ultimately it is a device used to tell players information.
Yeah,
Essentially.
I think there should be an option to turn it off.
Interesting.
I think when you get hints like text that comes up and says remember to press this to be able to do this properly. Like I
Yes,
wish there
mate.
was an option where that would either fade away like it sometimes it does, or just an option to turn it off entirely, just because you'd rather be uninterrupted.
Yeah.
But again, it's such a niche issue. My God,
Yeah.
I guess depending on how you look at it, it's either a necessary or an unnecessary evil. It's just there. And whether I do think it's actually more of a recent development. I don't ever really remember it from older games. Like I'm thinking back
Oh, well,
to like really old games.
don't think characters used to talk out loud that much, kind of thing.
No, I think it's definitely more of a recent development, maybe in the last 5 or 6 years, maybe
Again,
even
though,
sooner than
Jay,
that, 4 years.
I I just don't know why. So there's kind of two solutions. You either have it so you've always got someone with you, so you have a reason to talk, i.e., God of War or Last of Us.
Oh, that's true.
Well, Last of Us One, and
Mm.
or you just do the solution which I just mentioned, which is that you just narrate the character narrates in their head. I just don't know why more developers don't do that. Maybe because I assume you're saving on animating the mouth every time they talk it out loud, third person, and usually if you turn around, it's not very good while they're doing that in the world, I find. But yeah, I don't know why they just haven't done that, but maybe there's a reason that we don't know about.
I want to say in Days Gone, the character you play like whispers stuff like that rather than says it out loud. It's more. It does sound like it's closer than his head, but he still says it out loud. It'll be like a
Because of
whisper.
zombies and
Yeah,
stuff, or
because there's
that's
like
cool.
creatures around. So whether that's like an improvement, I don't know.
That's super
But
cool,
I
dude.
mean, that's the thing. I tend not to even think about that much about people talking out loud in games before I play a game. But then when it happens, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. Like it's not. It's not a massive deal. It's just like it's like such a nitpicky type of thing, isn't it? Like oh, I wish they'd just like change this tiny little thing. But developers aren't going to do that unless there's like hundreds of thousands of people making
Yeah.
an uproar about it. So yeah,
I've personally never had an issue with it.
hopefully it's like a fad that'll just either go away or they'll just do it differently.
Yeah.
Or maybe there aren't enough developers who think about it enough because it can be easily missed in a
Yeah.
game like development process. I can imagine that can be quite easily missed. And again, it probably only really affects games that are more open world. I'd say like I've only really thought about it in like Ghost, Odyssey. I imagine Last of Us at some point. Um, Days Gone is fairly open world. You know, I don't think it happens much in linear games. That's probably why. Like it didn't happen in Final Fantasy, so happy about that to an extent. Although you're usually with someone in Final Fantasy,
That's
so
true.
and
That's
even then he
true.
didn't really speak out. I mean, they spoke out loud, but it was because it was usually when there was a lot going on. It was like during a cutscene, but like a one that you walked through yourself. That kind of instance. So maybe that's like the like not necessarily the solution, but maybe like the way it's probably better used is during like an action scene or something. Because then it would
Yeah.
just sort of makes it more like dialogue rather than just talking out loud to nobody.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it develops. But listen, mate, Jay, I've got a few things I want to talk to you about. I've been
Do it.
thinking about. I've decided that I really want to get Crash 4. I saw some gameplay for it, and I was really impressed. And I stopped watching it, and I was like, "Screw it! I'm getting this game."
Okay.
They've won me over. Obviously, I love the job they did on Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Toys for Bob, that is the developer, and I'm super excited to play Crash 4. So I just wanted to let you know because I obviously like to tell you these things. Speaking of kind of games we're thinking about playing, etc.
Good
Things
segue
that
for me too.
correct. I'm
Yes.
thinking about the sort of games I want to buy in the next few months.
Yeah, me too.
Squadrons,
Me
Crash
too.
4. But you've kind of mentioned you're taking a break, mate. What's do
At
you
the
want to?
minute, yeah. So I've just taken a break just because I don't know if you ever get this, but too much of a good thing, right? Everything in moderation. I feel like when I was working more, I would have less time doing the same thing, so it felt better paced. I felt like I had time during the day to miss something, versus now where I'm getting very minimal time to miss anything. Everything's readily available to me, so there's no chance for me to miss anything. I think it's very important to have to miss something because then you have the appreciation for it once you do get the time for it. So I'm kind of just needing a break at the minute for games, but I'm now recently within the last week starting to get a bit more of like, oh, I really want to play games right now. Like I just want to play something, but I haven't had enough of a want for that to actually do it myself. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Like we're doing a Destiny thing, so I'm just sort of like saving my excitement and game readiness for that rather than anything else. Like there's nothing really I want to play per se. Like for me, if I want to play a game, I have to the next 2 weeks I'm not available basically. Like if I really want to play a game, I'm not going to be available to do anything else until I've finished it. So if I start something, I have to finish it most of the time. So I don't really want to do that. I'd rather just wait and yeah, just savor the moment.
when you're back on a routine, Jay, as it were, or a schedule, and you have a game like Cyberpunk,
Yep.
will it just mean that
Oh
when you
no.
have your spare time, it will just be Cyberpunk kind of thing?
More than likely, yeah. Like I'm not the kind of person who will watch two TV shows at the same time. Not the kind of person
Interesting.
who will play two games at the same time. It is one game and one game only, one TV show and one TV show only. Like if I'm in something, I'm in it. I'm not mucking about. I'm not reading two books at the same time. I'm in that world and that world only. I'm either in this world or that one. And I take a break from that one to be in this one and vice versa. There's no three worlds, it's just the one or the other. So yeah, I'm not gonna I mean, I feel like there's definitely probably the potential for me to want to do something else while playing another game, but that other game would have to be an online game. It'd have to be a multiplayer one. Like if I was playing COD, I could also play Destiny or Division or whatever other multiplayer type game there is, right? Ones that are games that allow you to not have to think too much about collectibles or needing to finish this next mission to get to this next one. Like just if there's a multiplayer game, I'll play multiple multiplayer games. But if there's like a very linear open world Odyssey type game, I'm only playing that. Nothing else. Why did you ask? Do you
Because
do that? Are you like that or
I'm
not?
very curious, Jay. I am actually. I'm a bit of a slut when it comes to those things. Like I can balance 2, 3 TV shows. I can balance
Oh
2, 3
wow.
games. Yeah, and for me, it's and don't get me wrong, Jay. I'm not like, oh, I'll play 5 games at the same time. Not like that.
Yeah, that's
But
too much.
in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so I've got Rocket League, I've got Crash 4, and I've got Squadrons. So when I'm in a Rocket League mood, I can go on that, and that'll be my multiplayer game. And then Squadrons will be my other multiplayer game, but that will have a completion aspect to me at some point. And then Crash 4 will be my single player game. And that's kind of
Yeah.
how I
See, I
separate my
know.
games.
I think I know why you said that, and it's because you. So you're. Would you? Are you saying that your mind is capable of switching between moods quite quickly then, or like frequently? Like one day it might be Crash, one day it might be Squadrons, one day it might be Thingy. Or
Definitely.
maybe
And
even during the day, like the morning you might feel like Crash, but the afternoon you might feel like Squadrons and vice versa.
definitely. And it can
Yeah,
even be it can even be 2 different single player games.
I feel like I can get that, but it's definitely rarer, less likely to happen. depending on the single player game that I'm playing. Like if I was playing Cyberpunk, there's no way you're dragging me off that thing, right? But if I was playing, I don't know, Fallout 3, I mean, yeah, you can easily drag me off that because I've done it before.
Yeah.
It does
I think
depend
an
a lot.
aspect as well, Jay, is when your friend's available to play with you, because
100%, yeah.
that's a limited time frame. Whereas for the most part, single player games you can play whenever you want, kind of
Yeah, you
thing.
don't want to
So,
muck around with someone else's time. Like, you tell them you're going to play something, and when you're like, no, I'm actually just going to go do this thing. So
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah,
What you said, Jay, about missing something, I think should resonate as well, and I think you got the right attitude there.
massively. Yeah, like I mean, I feel like it's one of those things that everyone knows, but tend not to accept
Yes.
until they've done it. Like it's one of those things that a lot of people don't really want to have to admit to themselves that they want to miss something or want to spend time away from something because they're not enjoying it. I mean, it could even be said with like foods. Like there's certain foods that I'll eat, months at a time. Like I won't deviate from that food. I'll have it every day or every other day, and then after those like 4 or 5 months, I'll be like, oh, I can't stand this food anymore. But that tends to only click when you're properly ready for it. Like you usually can't force yourself to come off something like that. I mean, you probably could, but it would depend. But yeah, I think it's I don't know. There's definitely something up here in the brain that just allows humans to need to get sick of something. I think food is probably more of a nutritional, evolutionary thing versus entertainment, which is just more of a psychological thing, more often than none. And I'm kind of glad because the thing I wanted to do instead of gaming is now gotten to that point where it's like I'm kind of ready to stop doing that now. So now my mind has opened up. There's now like enough room for something else to fill that gap. So
Yeah.
would you ever get that? Did you ever have a similar thing then?
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, sometimes I don't want to play a game for 2 months, and then other times I'll be like, I really want to watch loads of movies,
Yeah, I'm like that. Yeah.
and like you say, Jay, it feels like it's fitting a similar gap there.
Yeah,
For sure.
it's like within the same area of the brain, right?
Yeah,
It's like that particular area of the brain, we have no idea where it is, but it's somewhere where eventually it'll just get so full that you can't stand that one thing anymore. So you have to like eject that and just fill it with the new thing. It's like a
yeah,
cartridge for
like
the
a
brain. Just like
cartridge. Yeah,
take it out,
yeah.
blow on it a bit, stick it back in. Oh, it's all fresh, all done, all new.
Straight for
Perfect.
Cyberpunk, mate. I forgot to ask you about your Cyberpunk book. Tell us all
Yeah,
about
so
it.
I haven't actually finished it yet, but I'm like 30 pages away. It's got 196 pages, so I'm very close to finishing it. Thing is, it's not like thousands of words every page. There's a lot of
Lots of
artwork.
pictures. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of artwork. A lot of just like it's more to me. So the way they've set up the book is they've sort of like they've almost got a narrator for the thing, where the book there's like an introduction that basically says, "Hello, I'm this person with a name from this in-game sort of like hidden news, sort of like rebellion news type person, like a journalist who's like goes out there and goes to get all the corrupt news, but isn't allowed. Like the police and the corporations are trying to get rid of this company because they're telling all the secrets of the corporations, right? But they shouldn't be because that would like destroy them or whatever. So yeah,
So the book is trying to exist within the world
yeah, the
itself.
book literally is within the world. It's basically like a history book of the from the 1990s till 2077. Basically, it gives you the whole history, what's happened through almost every year, like block years and stuff. It's honest. I've learned so much about Cyberpunk. Honestly, since it's honest, it's insane. I know so much now. Like I'm so honestly, I tried to tell you this last night because we were speaking last night, but I got to a point where I was reading about the weapons of the game,
Mm.
and I literally had to put the book down and have a nap because I was too excited about reading the next paragraph. And that's not even a lie. My stomach got so like crunched up. I was like, geez, I don't want to read this next paragraph because I'm too excited about what the possibility of what they're going to say next.
Right.
It
Okay.
honestly made me like crazy.
What possibility of, because most of this will be, is all of these things you're reading in the game
Yeah, like it's not
to
giving
one
me
extent or another?
yeah, it's not giving me the enough information for me to know the exact stuff about like statistics.
Sure.
Let's say of weapons, for example, but it's giving me the names of the companies, the type of money you would need to buy those. There's like a low tier, mid tier, and a high tier in terms of how much money you need to buy each of the levels of weapons and stuff, and then what each of those weapons do. Not necessarily like individually, but what the companies do for each type of weapons. A bit like what you've got in Borderlands, like how you've got Dahl and Malawan.
Jacobs,
Yeah, like it's like a
Marwan.
similar type of thing. Like, but instead of them all being fairly equal, like in Borderlands, there's like a tier system. So there's like your low budget, which are like all your crappy normal weapons. You've got your mid tier, which is like your sort of like good for the most of everybody. Then you've got your high tier, which is like elite stuff, like stuff that probably costs way too much for you to fathom. That kind of, and same with vehicles as well. A similar type of system. Yeah, there's just, and then it gives you the history of like how cyberpunk even became to be and where the word cyberpunk came from within the universe. Like, oh,
Wow. So is this feeding your OCD, that Final Fantasy VII, I need to know the lore side of you, Jay?
yeah, it's kind of making me feel like I'm part of the world and I haven't even touched it yet, which I think is so valuable. I'm just so excited.
Yeah, do you feel more prepared now? Do you feel more
Yeah, there's definitely a level of
battle ready?
preparation. Definitely, I
Yeah.
think there's like you get this with like even from trailers sometimes that can be spoiler heavy, where they'll give you a bit of information, or even like a developer diary, or they'll give you this bit of information that from the outside, from someone who isn't too involved in the game or willing to even play it in the future, would completely pass them by. But the bit of information that someone like me or you would recognize is enough for me to go, I can use that in the game before I even know that it's going to come up. Like I know that's going to come up because of the type of detail it is. Like whether it be about a vehicle type or a weapon type, or
Okay, so
even like the history of a particular gang in the world, like those
so
kind of like details.
yeah, let me give you a scenario then, Jay, where this could play out.
Go
So
on.
let's say we're doing a quest or whatever you want to call it, a mission
Hmm.
for a gang.
Yeah,
And the gang's like, oh no, we're going against the Black Stars. They're our rivals. You might know they're lying because of what you've read in the book, and that might
yeah.
inform
It's
your
that
dialogue.
level of detail. Yeah, like
Right, right, right.
you know the reputation of the gang that you're doing this mission for, and you also know the reputation of that gang and what they're capable of, what you're capable of, and what this gang is capable of, and you can use that level of detail to then logically figure out what could or could not possibly happen.
Okay.
And also because they've got this street kid, corpo, and nomad like class type of thing. Like that plays heavily in everything too. So, and they talk about that quite frequently in there too. So
Cool. Oh, it sounds really cool, man.
it's so RPG. It's so like
Oh,
tabletop gaming. It's so nice.
that's cool.
It's very
I've been
D&D.
watching a lot of Critical Role, mate. I'm enjoying it quite a lot.
Hmm.
Just been out in the universe. On the cyberpunk thing, Jay,
Yeah,
I haven't been watching the Night Wire, whatever they're
yeah, the like
called.
CY stuff. Yeah.
As far as you're aware, or are some of the missions missable at all? Is there any missable aspect here?
Yeah, see that I don't know. I'm kind of because
Because
you get
I'm
so this is the
freaking
thing. Like
out.
this might be a good topic actually. Like me and you, I don't know if you probably have had this. I'd say one of the biggest downfalls to Fallout is being able to fail a mission. That is probably the one thing in Fallout that I hate the most. Like if I'm partway through a mission and all of a sudden an NPC dies, either because of me or because they got shot by accident, and you're like, oh, I either have to go back to the save point, which I may or may not have made, depending on how smart or how forward thinking I was, or I now have to go through the rest of the game knowing that I can't complete every single mission. And also, when there's missions that when you do them, cancel out a whole entire new thread of other missions. I can't stand that line of thinking. I can see how that could possibly be a thing because obviously if there's like a certain NPC that you have to either kill or maybe talk to about a certain or convince about a certain thing, how there might be like a you either do this or this, like that can be okay, but only if there's like a trophy that's associated with either or of those arcing threads. Like if there's a trophy that says do this line of mission and then do this one, and through your first playthrough you only have to pick one. That then gives you the mindset of I can play this again completely differently and then get that other achievement. But in Fallout, in Fallout, I will say that does tend to be the way that happens. Like I think that has happened sometimes. There's certain missions you have to go back and just do a second playthrough for, but that's not always the case. If that's not always the case, then that just makes me like feel really badly about the game, like less than it should be. Like for me, if I had to give Fallout 3 or Fallout 4 a rating, it automatically gets a one bump down just because of that. Like that just annoys me too much. If there's no reward or motivation to have to go back and do that other one just because I've like failed it, then what's the point in even having that in the game? It just I want to be able to do everything. Give me the possibility of 100%. Just let me do it.
Mate, you are dead on. And my brother has,
Oh,
me and my brother have the same issue.
yeah, it's
And I completely agree, Jay. The biggest flaw with Bethesda Softworks game design, from my perspective, is the idea that you can fail a mission. Now,
shouldn't ever happen. Should
mate,
not ever happen.
I can see they're thinking the world's reactionary. You killed this NPC, so why would you be able to do the quest? I get that. However, I do not like it. Make them unkillable,
Invincible.
I guess.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Make them invincible.
exactly.
Make them so they can only like go to the floor and you can revive them.
Exactly. They could
Like
be knocked
Borderlands.
out, whatever. But
See, that's where Borderlands fixed that issue. Because
for
NPCs
sure,
could only get knocked down; they couldn't die.
for sure.
Spot on.
And not being able to do a quest in a one playthrough where you want to 100% the game is infuriating. And I don't think in any of Fallout 3, Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 4, I don't think I have a perfect run through because the game simply will not let me because of the way it's designed, right? Skyrim, I stopped playing many a time because every time I went to Dawnstar, a dragon appeared and killed 5 NPCs that I want to speak to.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of like, the more I think about it, I'm hoping they'll do one of a few things. Like, so imagine this, right? You've got Cyberpunk, you've got a mission, and because you are a street kid, this corpo doesn't agree with what you're saying, and you don't have the correct dialogue option than if you were a corpo instead of a street kid. So you now have to go through this line of the part of the mission. As long as that line part of the mission doesn't give me a different trophy than what the corpo or the nomad one would have done, and as long as I can still complete the mission even though I'm not a corpo or a nomad, then that's fine. Like as long as there's still a way to do it. And then the other thing is, I'm hoping they don't do this, is that you can only get certain missions if you are either a corpo or a nomad. But the only way that would be acceptable is if that would be okay. Actually, that would kind of be okay. Again, if there wasn't, it'd be better if there was a trophy for it. So like, you're not going to be able to do the nomad prologue scene if you're a corpo or a street kid, and if that prologue scene gives you an achievement, then cool, because I can then do my next playthrough on the nomad to get that. Right, I'm happy with that. But again, if there's no incentive, then don't put it in the game because I want to be able to see everything. I mean, yes, I mean you could still, it would still be okay if they did that. It would just be more annoying if they didn't.
Exactly.
Like, just make I guess this
glad-
is kind of a small gripe. I'm sure there aren't that many people who complain about this. I mean,
I think there are, Jay. I think there are. I think almost every OCD gamer feels this way.
Yeah, it does. It just, if anything, it's more like it's that classic parent thing of I'm not angry at you, I'm disappointed. Like, just don't disappoint me, game, please. Just
Yeah.
I can get angry at you because I can, anger usually means that I'm frustrated with a particular type of thing, but disappointment means that you've actually failed me.
It's true.
Like, anger means that this can be fixed. Disappointment means this can't be fixed. You failed me. Just don't fail me, game, please.
Exactly that.
Yeah,
I'm glad you brought that up, Jay. That was a good conversation. Now,
that was
listen, mate.
That was a good segue from you.
Well, we have to talk about next gen again, Jay, because let me break it down if that's okay quickly. So, as far as we're aware, especially on the Xbox side, every game that you get will basically you'll get the free copy. The free upgraded copy, not backwards compatibility, which is also a thing. The free upgraded developers have gone in and done stuff to make it the best version it can be for the Series X. So let's use Valhalla. So you can buy Valhalla on Xbox One or Xbox Series X, and you will be able to play it anywhere you want and have the best version available. Now, Ubisoft, I don't know if they've done this yet, but Ubisoft will go in and make Valhalla the Series X edition specific to Series X, right? So they'll go, right, guys, we've upgraded it. You can have and Xbox is saying you can have that version for free if you already own it. That's the situation. PS5 have also started to come out with more and more games and say, oh yeah, no, the PS5 version will be free as well. And they keep doing that. I'm not sure whether that's a standard across the board, but they keep coming out with new games for that. Now, Jay, Control comes out, the game by Remedy. I think it came out last year. And the 2 add-ons are out now. And they announced the Ultimate Edition. So Game of the Year Edition, whatever. It's coming out with all the add-ons, all the updates and all that jazz. Coming out on Xbox One, PS4, PC, all that jazz. And it's also coming out for Series X and PS5. Great. However, those versions, the next-gen versions, so the versions made for those consoles, not backwards compatibility, made for those consoles, is going to be charged, from what we can tell. And this comes from looking at charged money.
Oh, so you have to pay for it. Okay.
You have to pay for it. And this comes from a product FAQ. So
that kind of makes sense to me, though.
Go on.
Like, I can see your point if you bought it on... Because like, you need to look at it from like their point of view, right? Because if it's coming out at the same time for both consoles, and you buy it for the old console, the company doesn't want you to then automatically have it for the other console for free. If it's coming out at the same time for both consoles, right? Let's imagine this is going to happen when the new console is already out. If it was a thing where you bought it before the new console was coming out, I can imagine them giving it to you for free for the next one. If there was like at least a month or two, like if they released it in the next week, I'd be like, okay, it makes sense that they would give it to you for free. But if it's coming out at the same time as when the new console is already coming out, then yes, both should cost the same amount on both consoles. 100%. It just, from a business point of view, that makes much more sense.
Yeah, Jay, I agree. I think this is being a bit confused and blown out of proportion from the games media. So the games media, as far as I'm aware, are making out that Control will not, you'll have to pay for the upgrade. That's not entirely what's happening here. Oh, okay. What's happening is you'll have to pay for the game with the add-ons in the Ultimate Edition. And to your point, Jay, so, okay, for instance, what I'm saying is if you own Control, the base game, you can play it on backwards compatibility, but you will not have the upgraded Xbox Series X version unless you own the Ultimate Edition.
See, that's annoying for me. Do you want to know why?
Go on.
Because I bought Control
on
PlayStation 4 maybe 2 or 3 months ago, being like, I'll play this one day. It was like on sale, and it was like the edition that gave, like the deluxe edition that gave you, I think, it might have even been like the season pass or something, right? So does that mean I'm viable, or am I not viable?
You are not viable.
There you go. See, now
however, you may be able to play it on PS5 from backwards compatibility.
Yeah, I'm not fussed about that. I'll happily play Control on PS4 rather than PS5. Obviously, I'm not fussed about that, not too much.
Fair enough. It's not a great thing. The thing that I don't like, Jay, is it introduces the idea of charging for the upgrade. Yeah. And one of the best things about this new gen is the fact that we were able to get all these games free upgrades. It's been one of the best things about the new gen so far. The thing that concerns me is if you own Control and you own both or the DLC, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to upgrade for free.
See, I can see, yes, I think on one level, if other people have said we guarantee to give you an upgrade for free if you already own this on the old generation, then yes, it should be a consensus. There should be like an overall, like, yes, we all agree to do the, imagine all these developers around a table, and then you get the people with Control, like, excuse me, we want the money, please.
Yeah,
it's a bit strange. Like that guy's the black sheep right now. Yeah. Okay, but I can, from a business point of view, yeah, I mean it does kind of seem a bit money grabbing, to be honest.
I think it comes. So
you're worried about like there being being allowed, like people in the future. This will create some sort of like narrative that the developers are now allowed to charge people for upgrades.
That's my concern.
would that last very long in terms of games that is applicable to? Because obviously you're not. There's going to be games in the future that are only released on
For
the new
the Series X.
generation.
Yeah, exactly that. We're
So
looking
that
at what, a
would.
two year time span maybe
So
for the
yeah, it
cut
looks
off.
to me that they know that and are willing to, I guess, let go of some of their reputation for some money, which just to me doesn't make them look good, obviously. Oh, so this is a tough one, isn't it? This is a really tough one.
I think this comes from the publisher, the upgrade.
Oh, that's true, 100%.
And I
Yeah.
also think, Jay, that this comes from the fact that Control didn't sell loads.
Yeah, it hasn't done great, but I don't think it's done terribly. It's like sort of one of those
No.
middle games, right? I'd say if you had like a tier system of like top, middle, bottom, and then bottom, this is probably like middle top. So
Yeah.
it's not quite top. It's like almost middle, almost middle top. It's like somewhere in that range.
And I hope to play it on Game Pass one day. I won't buy it, but if it comes to Game Pass, I'll play it. But I think it was a great game that came out in a quiet year. I haven't played it, so I don't know that.
See, I'm
But
kind of
that's what
annoyed
it
because I
seems like.
was going to play it a couple months ago and then decided I played Death Stranding instead, which is fine. I'm glad I did. But at the time when I wanted to play it, there was like a day where I was like, I need to play this today because I want to play it. I looked up the trophies and I was like, this is too much work.
For Control?
Ooh, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's even honestly, it's a lot. Even though I've put more time into Odyssey to get platinum, it felt like too much of a mental strain for me to be able to do controls 100% versus Odysseys. Like Odysseys felt like more of a fun way of getting to 100%, versus controls sort of more of like a job. It felt like more of a hassle. So I think yeah, it's one of those games that you need to put like a lot of hours in, and they're not going to be fun hours either, more than likely, which annoys me because I kind of want to be one of those people who are in love with this game, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. My brain isn't going to allow me to do that anytime soon, which is so annoying because it looks kind of cool.
Jay, I love the fact you're checking out the trophies for the game, FYI.
Yeah, and I'm not fussed about spoilers and trophies anymore. I couldn't
Fair.
care less. If there's a right, here's another thing. Right, if there's a spoiler in a trophy or an achievement, make it a hidden one.
Oh, Jay, preaching to the choir.
Yeah, just do that. Why would you ever? Why would you ever want to spoil
Are
it for
there
anybody?
are there ones in this game that aren't hidden?
When Control? I
Yeah,
don't think so. To be honest, I barely read the title of the trophy. I only usually read the
the
contents
description.
of what it
Yeah,
means, because usually the title gives more away than the actual description most of the time.
true. So what? True. So what were some of the things, Jay? That was it like kill 500 enemies with this ability? Was that the
No,
sort of
it was
thing?
more like so. Like there's games that have this. Oh god, I think the biggest thing is the amount of collectibles there were and how it wasn't easy to be able to track what you had already.
Oh God.
I can't
Okay.
remember if there was. Honestly, I don't want to like spoil this for you too much, but whether there was a system that allowed you to track it or there wasn't one.
Okay.
I can't remember if there was or there wasn't. But to me, it seemed like there was. Like, games that have 500 collectibles in, but only require you to get 200 of them. But of those 200, they're very difficult to get. Because you have to be able to complete the game first and then come back to these old areas to even like do like puzzles to then open these areas to then find the collectible, which is like such a hassle. Which can be fun if you enjoy the game, but obviously sometimes you won't. Um, and then there's some collectibles that are, because there's so many collectibles, you'll I think the trophy only allows you to be able to get the achievement if you get 200 of a specific of the 500 rather than 200 out of 500.
I see.
So you can get 300, but you might not ever get the trophy because you've only got 100 of a specific one.
Oh, that is
It's
annoying.
like it's something like that from what I can remember. It might, I mean, my
Yeah.
my memory might be obviously completely skewed of what I remember, but
No, that's
I,
fair.
I
That's
recommend
fair.
looking into it to yourself. But the thing is, it kind of spoiled the game for me. I was like, oh god, I kind of just want to play the game now without actually doing the achievements. I just want to play it for the story.
Mate, there is definitely a thing about checking out an achievement list and then going, you know what? I'm not going to
No,
bother now.
I've done it. Honestly, I've done it with like
Yeah.
40 games,
Yeah.
maybe more. I've like, and maybe 10 of those I've bought and then been like, why did I buy this?
Yeah. So what's this Avengers story, mate?
This is annoying because it's conflicting with stuff in my head. So yeah, Avengers has been data mined.
Jake, stop right there. What does that mean?
I mean, someone's gone through the beta because the beta's obviously been out for people who've pre-ordered the game.
You played it?
No, it's free. It's coming free on the 22nd, but there's been like 2 or 3 closed betas for people who pre-ordered the game.
Okay. Seems like quite a
Uh,
lot of pre-ordered it then.
yeah, I guess so. Probably quite a few.
Go on.
But they've basically like data mined the game, which basically means they've opened the code up and tried to find any information about the game before it comes out. And what they
It's nice
found
of
is
them.
they
It's nice
found 15 unannounced characters that are reportedly going to be in the game at some point. That are potentially going to be released as extra characters that are playable later on, as like DLC and stuff.
just like Spider-Man.
Yeah, just like Spider-Man, but other characters other than Spider-Man.
Okay, so this isn't hugely surprising. They were looking to, do a huge post-launch roadmap for this game from the looks of things. So have they said what characters they found or just 15?
Yeah, they have. They've listed every single one of them.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Right, okay. So,
Um,
and what are your thoughts on this, Jay? Looking at
yeah,
the
so
list now.
I need to bring up something.
Or your favourites on there, Jay?
Yeah, so that was the thing. The characters on this list, I'd say most of them are characters that I'm absolutely in love with, and one of them I absolutely despise. And I bet you can tell which one it is because it's bloody Captain Marvel, isn't it? So
Which one do you love?
Doctor Strange.
Okay. Do you want to, Jay? Do you want to read off the list quickly?
Yeah, so Ant-Man, Wasp, Vision, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Falcon, Marvel, Mockingbird, Quake, Winter Soldier, Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel, Kate Bishop, which is basically Hawkeye, but the daughter, She-Hulk, and War Machine.
Jay, can we just break down a few of these characters? Because as nerdy as I am, I don't know a few of them.
Right, so Ant-Man is obviously Ant-Man from the films.
Oh, hold on. Not all of them. Not all of them.
Which ones? Go on, which ones?
Marvel.
Yes, he is just like a. So he's the guy. Okay, he's like the original Captain Marvel.
Okay.
He's the guy who was Jude Law in the film. I don't know if you saw the film.
I watched 5 minutes of the film and turned it off.
Okay. Yeah, he's the guy who basically had the initial Captain Marvel power, essentially.
Okay. Mockingbird.
He's like the actual Captain Marvel versus anyone else. Mockingbird, yeah, just like another another Marvel character. I'm trying to think like the best way to describe. I mean, she's not really been in anything. That's the thing. She's actually a character I like because she's part of. I want to say she's part of the Thunderbirds, but I could be wrong. Thunderbirds is like another Marvel team that have been around. Who else? Who else you got?
And Quake.
Well, maybe then Mockingbird wasn't. I think Mockingbird might have actually been somewhat the Peggy.
Yeah,
Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
The person who made Shield. I'm pretty sure that's her daughter.
Okay.
I want to say. I could be very wrong about that.
Peggy Carter would have been a cooler character, I think, personally.
I guess so, yeah. Who is the next one?
Quake.
Yeah, Quake is, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I do.
Yeah, she's in that. She's like one of the main female characters in that. She can make earthquakes come out of her hands, essentially.
Okay.
It's a weird power. Is that it? Or any more? No,
that's it, mate. You carry on as you were, gents.
Yeah. So I kind of want to get this game now. I think I've gotten to the point where my prejudice towards characters I don't like might be overcome by the other 15 plus characters that are potentially in this game. Thing is, though, I've done quite a bit of reading on the beta so far, and a lot of people are not liking it.
Is that right?
A lot of people say that the loot system seems to be shoehorned in, a lot like how it was in Anthem. Mm-hmm. Basically, people are saying this is like the next Anthem. It's probably not going to do that well. But the fact that it's going to do better than Anthem is because it's Marvel Avengers.
Yeah.
I think this game will do better than it should do. Let's just say that. I don't know if I'm willing to spend the money on a game that could be bad. So I'm going to try out the beta on the 22nd, and I'll give you a verdict after this weekend. Because the game you can actually play the game. So the game is supposed to come out on Friday the 4th. But if you pre-order the game, if you get a certain certain level, like deluxe edition or whatever, you can play the game on the 1st of August or the 1st of September instead. You can play it 3 days early, which is insane. Which is actually
Did you
the
say if you
same.
pre-order it, Jay?
Yeah, if you pre-order it or if you just get a certain edition.
That should not be a thing. Just putting it
Well,
out
that's the
there.
thing. Guess who else did that before this?
Well, I know Square Enix did for Deus Ex Mankind Divided, but they cancelled that because people had such a backlash, and rightfully so. I don't know who else.
Anthem did it.
Right. Okay.
And those first 3 days were abysmal.
In terms of the performance of the game?
Yeah, it was buggy, it was bad. So hopefully they don't have that problem. Honestly, I kind of want to play this also more for the multiplayer aspect rather than the single player aspect. Like, to me, there seems to be a lot of like you can do a lot in co-op. It kind of feels like a Destiny or Division type situation. And I'm kind of hoping they have some sort of like matchmaking, because that would make it a lot cooler.
Oh yeah, definitely. What, PvP you mean?
Yeah, just some sort of like, or PvE but with other people.
Yeah, I think
Like you can do
they
this.
will, hopefully.
I'm kind of annoyed because I want to get this game so bad.
Jay, here's if you don't mind me interrupting, here's what I think is going to happen. Okay, Anthem sold respectably, and I'll tell you why.
Oh yeah, I got it. I played it. It's very I actually like the game a lot.
That's true. Natural curiosity. You will not, even if you don't buy this game, Jay, you will see so much about it, and even after you've played the beta, that you cannot not buy this game. Just because you're that curious about
I see what you mean. Yeah, honestly, I think the curiosity aspect of this game is the biggest selling point, other than the fact that it's Avengers. The thing is, it is a lot of money, so I kind of have to like think about what I want to do about that.
It's funny. You wonder whether the marketing team know this. You wonder if they went back and they went, "Okay, guys, the game isn't maybe what it's stacking up to be, so let's just make it this big mystery so that everyone buys it just to find out what the game is."
That's definitely part of it. I'd say, yeah, definitely.
I mean, they only did the big reveal a few months ago, and it's coming out this September.
Honestly, I think in the next coming days before the beta comes out, I might have to do a bit of research and just like look up exactly what the game is, because I still don't know exactly how it's going to like play out. Like what all the multiplayer, like the whole war table thing. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I think the other part of the reason why I don't want to get it is because of how it looks. Right, there's definitely a lot of aspects of it looking quite iffy. Like the characters obviously aren't, the beloved characters we all love. They're just different in many more ways.
Different interpretations, mate. Different interpretations.
I just know that the next level, the next part of all the Marvel stuff is going to be completely ruined by Captain Marvel. It's just going to it's going to muck it up for me entirely. It has soured the milk for me. It really has. It's soured everything.
Of this list,
it's a stain on the clothes of these amazing characters. It really is. Captain Marvel is a giant bloody boil, and I hate it. Get rid of it.
Who of these characters was your favourite then that you mentioned earlier?
What, of the 15 that I mentioned?
Yeah. Because you said you loved one and you hated one.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is probably the biggest one.
Oh, you did say that, sorry.
Yeah, other than Ant-Man, I guess. Ant-Man is another big one.
I loved the Ant-Man film.
I mean, She-Hulk is actually a big one too. I love She-Hulk. Thing is, though, they're going to make her look like some sort of like awful character. I can obviously see it. And honestly, it really bugs me. It really it gets me angry.
Let's move on.
Disappointed is what it does. It disappoints me. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed.
Let's move on. Last topic or movement, Jay. Time for Guess Who's review. Have a bit of fun before the end. Let's move away from the Captain Marvel talk. Let's move away. All right, Jay. It's your turn this week. So
is it my turn?
I've got the game. So I've picked out a random game review from a random media outlet, and I've got 3 quotes, and Jay's got to guess it.
Isn't it. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
I think it's 8. The scores are 8-8. So if Jay gets it, first quote is 3 points, second quote 2 points, last quote 1 point. Without further ado, Jay, ready?
Yeah. Just give me a thing. Is this an easy one, a medium one, or a hard one, would you say?
I personally think this is easy difficulty.
Oh, of course you do. You would say that.
Let the challenge begin.
All right, go on then.
All right. Quote number 1.
Number 1.
But as they say, karma is a bitch. The choices you make, be they good, evil, or neutral, will have far-reaching consequences. Take the high road and you'll anger the seedier elements in this semi-society.
See, I already know what it is, and it's annoying because I'm going to get it, aren't
I'm gonna crush these headphones if you get it.
I? Right. Okay. So it's one of a few things. Can you read the quote again?
I've given it away. Okay.
I think you have, but we'll go. Go on. We'll see. We'll see. Come on.
Okay. But as they say, karma is a bitch. The choices you make, be they good, evil, or neutral, will have far-reaching consequences. Take the high road, and you'll anger the seedier elements in the semi-society.
Okay. Is it Infamous?
No. Come on!
Really?
Come on. Okay, so I'm going to switch the last two quotes around. So I actually had them the other way around, but I'm going to switch them around.
Yeah. So, what? Hang on. So how is it not Infamous?
Oh, this is good. This is way better. Mark, you better be
'Cause
tracking this. You better be
karma,
tracking this one, baby.
Good, bad, neutral, or yeah, right. And then you've got Seedy Society. That's,
Seedier elements in this semi-society.
yeah, that's Infamous.
Okay, quote number 2.
Screw
Quote
you,
number
man.
2.
That's Infamous.
The game.
You better not be like Infamous Second Son. You're not letting me have it.
No. The game has a few flaws, most of them technical, but it's a case where the whole is greater than the sum. It's a fantastic game with incredible atmosphere that offers fun in so many different ways that you're almost sure to get hooked. Now, it is a quite broad quote, and I probably should have led with that one.
You could put that literally anywhere.
But for what the game is, there is definitely some hints in there.
All right, try that one again. I need to hear that again. That was
The
odd.
game has a few flaws, most of them technical, but it's a case where the whole is greater than the sum. It's a fantastic game with incredible atmosphere that offers fun in so many different ways that you're almost sure to get hooked.
Are you sure I played this game?
Positive, Jay.
See, I don't think I don't know. I don't think I played this.
Positive.
So there's a karma system,
Yes, there is.
and there's
Evil,
a
good,
semi-society.
Semi-society has a few flaws technically. Fantastic game, incredible atmosphere.
No! Don't give me that. This better not be what I think it is. Okay, I'm gonna have my guess.
Okay.
And you better not screw me over on this.
Okay.
Is it Fallout
Fallout
3?
It is Fallout 3!
Screw you, dude.
Oh, 2 points. He's getting back up.
10-8, okay.
Oh, my word.
See, I thought Fallout would be too obvious when I thought of Infamous. I thought, there's no way Fallout. He's not going to go with Fallout this early. There's no way.
Mate, the best way to trick the enemy.
Yeah, go with the obvious one. Jesus Christ.
just put
All
your
right,
sword
well,
right
that
in
was
front of
good.
him.
I enjoyed that. I need to hear the third one just so I know.
Yeah, sure. This one, I mean, if you don't get this, if you don't get it from the last quote, you stop gaming.
Embarrassing, yeah.
XP is gained through combat, completing quests, finding locations, picking locks, and hacking terminals.
Yeah, that's too obvious, definitely, yeah. Okay.
Oh, well, you say that, Jay. I think the first quote was quite obvious, personally. But
I mean, yes, but a lot of games have karma systems in them. And they have semi-societies in them.
do they have good, evil, or neutral, though?
Yeah, Infamous does. I'm trying to think what that other game.
Mass Effect does.
There's another game that has a very similar thing. Oh, actually, hang on. Let me see if I've got it. I know I've got it around here.
Prototype. Oh,
Hang on.
he's gone. He's gone.
I'm here, but I just have it. I know I have it around. Homefront: The Revolution.
Jay, that game's awful.
I know it's bad. I regret
Awful.
buying it, but
Awful game.
I'm pretty sure that's a very similar thing. It's a semi-society karma system. Good, neutral, and bad. There we go.
Fair enough.
That would have been
I
my
didn't-
third guess.
Didn't know you played that game. Didn't know you played that. So
It's
that was
awful.
from Erin Bludvik at IGN, and that was his review. So thanks, Eric. 10 years later? 12 years later? Yeah?
Yeah, a little over that probably.
11.
2008, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
All right,
12
mate.
years.
Well, that's everything I wanted to discuss. Anything else from your end? This fictitious meeting occurred on the 11th of August in the year 2020 in the fictitious Xbox HQ with the fictitious Xbox team. Guys, congratulations. Halo Infinite is turning up to be a great game. We're really excited to have it launch with the Xbox Series X, the first Xbox launch title Halo since the original. 343, you've done an amazing work. Congratulations to everyone. Just a really great job overall. We're really feeling really good about it. And sir, don't you think that we don't really have many good launch games coming up at the moment? Well, Jeff, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that we necessarily need them per se. We got it, Halo, and we've got some really great features. I mean, we got Game Pass. The Game Pass is super popular, and lots of people subscribe to it. Over 10 million people subscribe to it. And not only that, we've got Xbox Live, which has got the best multiplayer network structure across the board. We've got cross-buy on PC, both with Xbox Game Pass and other games as well, Gears and that sort of thing. So I feel really good about it. And truth be told, I think we've got a fine chance of this next generation war here. Sir? Yes, Jimmy? Well, 343 need to, delay Halo Infinite. What? Yeah, 343, they're outsourcing quite a lot, and, they need to, delay Halo Infinite. We're not gonna get it done in time for the Xbox Series X launch, I'm afraid, sir. Guys, we've lost.